Hello, welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, comment, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We would love to hear your ratings of the movies and shows we review.
Email us your audio file to recappingpodcast@gmail.com and we will play it during the show.
Or DM us on Instagram and we will post and read it on air.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. Ashley, how you doing?
I'm so good. It is the holiday season is really upon us, Delora, and I'm feeling it.
It truly is.
In my spirit.
Birthday month. Your birthday's coming up. How exciting. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So excited to see another year of life. Thank you, Jesus. I appreciate it.
Yes. Ashley, this is our final pop culture episode of the year. Can you believe it?
I know. It's so hard to say goodbye, but guys, we have to take a break to spend time with our family and friends just like you guys.
A much needed break because guess what? In 2021, we have recorded so far 57 episodes.
Yeah, we've been busy. We've been a little busy.
We have the nerve to add a new segment to our podcast, In Conversation With.
Exactly. We've been busy, guys.
We've been busy. And so because this is our pop culture episode, we're going to recap 2021. So Ashley, 2021 has been interesting. I have to say, personally, it has not been as devastating as 2020. So thank you, God, for that.
Exactly.
But we still go in the world around us. We still went through an insurrection, a placement of a new president, as well as the very first woman of color, Black woman, Indian vice president, major key. We've had vaccinations. There's been storms and all the things, but you know what we talk about pop culture. Okay. And so with that, Ashley and I are going to give our favorite 2021 moments of pop culture. So Ashley, would you like to go first?
Sure. My first one is from January because I figure we can go in order.
Yes.
Speaking of the inauguration, the Amanda Gorman introduction to the world. Guys, there were a few moments that Delora and I talked about from the inauguration in general, but have to say my favorite was Miss Amanda Gorman becoming the youngest inaugural poet in U.S. history. She's only continued to shine throughout this year. She, just to name a few things, signed with IMG Models. She has published 3 books. Yes. She became the first poet to ever perform during a Super Bowl. She became the first ever global change maker for Estee Lauder. Wow. So many more accomplishments, Delora. So as Vogue said of her when she became the first poet to ever grace the cover in April, Amanda Gorman is a poet, activist, optimist, style icon, and a phenomenon in the making. I cannot wait to see what this young lady has in store for us for many years to come, including that run for president that she promised us. So all the snaps and claps for our good sis, Amanda Gorman.
Phenomenal. Yes. I mean, truly, truly impressive. I actually bought 2 of her books. I bought the actual inauguration poem as well as her kid book for the babes. So
you're still supposed to send me a copy of something of Amanda Gorman's that we talked about. So maybe that's my Christmas gift. Maybe.
I never said that.
I'm putting that out there on the mic, guys. Y'all heard it.
I'm really good for remembering things. I never said that, but okay. I'll hook you up, girl. I'll hook you up. All right.
Laura, so what's your next top 2021 moment?
Girl, I'm talking about H&M with the big O. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah.
Oh, yeah.
Girl.
Oh, yeah.
Me being a royal watcher, essentially from birth, because I get it from my mama. just could not believe the tea that was spilled during this this interview. Everything from, Meghan's saying her piece when it comes to the tabloids and how much they lied on her, claiming that she made her sister-in-law cry when in fact it was the reverse. And girl, we cannot forget this phenomenal line that will go down in pop culture history. Were you silent or silenced? Okay. And apparently she's still silenced because she didn't tell us who asked about Archie's skin color. So that hunt is still going on very strong. I have a strong inkling that it's Charles. But anyway, but I'm so proud.
It could have been Harry. Camilla. It may have been Camilla.
I don't trust her.
She's been the villain for so long. It's hard for me to put her in any other role. Okay.
But since this interview, Meghan and Harry have since welcomed their beautiful baby daughter. We have not seen pictures, but I'm assuming, of Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor. And they have been featured as Time 100's world's most influential people. And they were cover stars. Okay. Iconic cover. Okay. So they've gone on to do great things, and I look forward to seeing more of them. So right now they're championing vaccination availability around the world, as well as paid parental leave. So I'm here for all the things. So snaps to my royal faves, Meghan and Harry. All right,
yeah. All right. My next from May and July. This is a split. So Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka putting mental health first, Delora. It was unprecedented to see two Black female athletes at the height of their talents and power choose to put their mental health first. We had four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka choosing to drop out of the French Open in May after being fined for her decision to skip press obligations due to the mental health toll. She subsequently also withdrew from Wimbledon. Woo, major. Then in July, the GOAT of gymnastics and the face of the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, Simone Biles, withdrew from multiple events, citing her own mental health struggles and a case of the twisties. Simone said at the time she was inspired by Naomi Osaka and would tell others who are struggling to put their own needs first. She said, put mental health first, because if you don't, then you're not going to enjoy your sport and you're not going to succeed as much as you want to. So it's okay sometimes to even sit out the big competitions to focus on yourself, because it shows how strong of a competitor that you really are, rather than just battle through it. One of the things that we talked about that was so impressive too about this is Simone was still by the side of all her teammates, rooting them on in the stands, biggest cheerleader, and still ultimately wanting what was best for her teammates. At a time when we've all gone through unprecedented loss and change, it was so inspiring to see these young ladies really standing up for themselves. So again, snaps and claps to the good sisters, Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka.
Yes, that was actually on my list too, but I just went ahead and highlighted some other topics. But mental health in sports definitely seem to have been a major topic of conversation in 2021, and much deserved considering the type of year 2020 was. I mean, the amount of death and loss that the world felt, and to come into this new year and expect that and act like 2020 didn't happen is just unrealistic.
And that we weren't continuing to suffer in 2021. There was still a lot. There was still plenty.
It's still going on
still
right
plenty.
Now.
Exactly.
Plenty of things. So
very inspiring. Ladies, I've started my therapy journey. So thank you so much.
Yes. So my next hot topic of 2021, Jeopardy trying to find a host. This hosting fiasco started, unfortunately, shortly after the great Alex Trebek passed away at the end of last year. They have since went on to have guest hosts ranging anywhere from Katie Couric to our dude, the great LeVar Kutakinte Burton. Okay. But no matter how many guests hosts they had, they landed on the executive producer who did not fill any of those guest seats. He just was miraculously crowned as the host of this iconic game show on August 11th. However, his tenure was very short because by August 20th, he lost his job.
What's the man's name again? I've already forgotten.
Mike Richards.
Right.
So after reports by The Ringer revealed that he had made some offensive and sexist comments from a podcast years ago. And, the court of public opinion did not let up on him. And so he quit. So since then, Jennings, one of the Ken Jennings in particular, the longest winner of Jeopardy, I should say, and Mayim Bialik, they now share hosting duties into 2022. So that's what they're sitting on right now. But man, this whole situation has tarnished the great, prestigious game show that we know. What is the greatest prestigious network game show that we know? Jeopardy. So,
and LeVar said, don't associate me with that issue anymore. I'm moving on.
Because it was ugly how they treated him. They knew he was a fan favorite and he wasn't even under consideration. So that says a lot about what was going on behind the scenes there. So your turn, Ashley.
All right. Celebrity showergate, Delora. It all began with Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. Girl, we learned a lot more than we ever thought we would about the showering and hygiene habits of certain celebrities. And for some of us, those in our own lives. I can speak for myself because I started asking people after this.
Oh, I didn't want to know.
Girl, I did. I needed to know. You had everyone from The Rock to Jake Gyllenhaal chiming in. Moral of the story, everyone was not raised the same, clearly. So for those of us who are single out in these streets, ask some new questions to your dating list because we need to know about how folks are really getting down when it comes to their hygiene habits.
So Ashley, I want to give these people just an ounce of grace. I wonder if some of their hygiene habits changed after the year 2020. And, they have not been able to, reinvigorate.
You're so kind.
The hygiene practices.
You're so kind.
Corona.
I don't think these people in particular who made these statements, I think they have been going hard like this for a very long time. Based on the comments made, I think they have been going this hard for a long time. I liked how they tried to downplay it afterwards and make it seem like it wasn't a big deal, what have you. But, do y'all. I'm not sleeping with any of y'all. Not living with any of y'all. So
they probably get their sheets changed daily anyway. So
as long as you okay with those side eyes, live y'all best lives. All right, Delora, what's next?
Bennifer 2.0. When I tell you Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez was the couple back in the day, I think they were the first, celebrity combined named couple out here in these streets.
They were definitely huge tabloid fodder. So probably so.
The early 2000s for the youngins who may not know this. But they were together and like I mentioned in the early 2000s, then they broke up in 2004, citing excessive media attention as part of the reason why they broke up. A lot of pressure. I guess back in 2018, J-Lo said that in the beginning, they played along with the media because it was fun, but then it ultimately destroyed them. But guess what, honey? In July 25th, J-Lo's 52nd birthday, she made the relationship, rekindling their relationship, official on Instagram with a picture of them kissing, which was major considering she just broke up from her engagement with A-Rod. Yep. So I'm here for it because, again, I was a very young teenager in their heyday when they were together. And I told you in some of our conversation earlier this year that this was the first time where I was like, my mom's an oracle, because she told me, she's like, they're not going to make it. They're not going to get married. I'm like, Mom, they're getting married this weekend. And literally like a couple of days before their weekend wedding, they called it off, or he called it off, actually.
That pink diamond ring, I still need to know where that is living.
I have to say, they are acting coy, kind of, but a lot of the pictures that were surfacing between them, even today, nods to her Jenny on the block video, specifically the yacht scene of him cupping her butt.
That booty.
And them being on red carpets, obviously hand in hand. But whenever anyone asks Ben about Jen, he changes the subject very quickly.
At least this Jen, because his comments about Jennifer Garner on Howard Stern were, Lord, Jesus.
Leave that poor woman alone. She is an amazing baker.
I love Jennifer
and an amazing actress. And honestly, sometimes I hope she doesn't resent him, because she was a kick-ass movie star. And then he got married and she started having his baby. So,
okay. Hello, Alias. Hello, Electra.
That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
I just feel like she never spoke an unkind word. So I just don't want to do this. Like, I just don't want to go down this rabbit hole. That's still the mother of your children. You still have to co-parent. Like, let's not do that. So,
but let's also recognize that Ben is a bit of a mess. Like, I know J-Lo is happy to be back with him, but Jen was doing some work, okay, taking care of him and dealing with his addiction. I mean, I feel like all his high profile girlfriends dealt with him with some type of vice one time or another, because you got to remember, he was with Gwyneth, he had a gambling issue, and again, alcoholism and everything like that. So I don't know.
It's not one relationship that perpetuates issues you already have. Like, that's between you and you. Like, that's between you and you, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you.
Of course.
So, hot topic of 2021. Do you have anything else or any honorable mentions?
I have one more. And that is, of course, something we have discussed multiple times throughout the year. Britney is free, baby. Okay.
# free Britney. Yes, ma'am.
Girl, in a battle we covered extensively, Britney being freed from her 13-year conservatorship felt like a victory for not just Britney, but for her hardcore fans, all of us who grew up with her, and also those who understood the harsh reality of her situation and of conservatorship law in general through her testimonies, the # free Britney movement, and documentaries that have come out, such as Framing Britney Spears and the New York Times Britney versus Spears. Delora, I still look back at old footage of Britney and feel sad at what she's gone through, but just really hope that this newfound freedom will have her living her best life moving forward.
Yes. Thank you, Ashley. That was also on my list too. So you covered it. I'm so happy. And who would have thunk we would be where we are today with Britney Spears, based off some of the conversations we were having earlier this year? It's like unheard of.
I mean, it's really a credit to her hardcore fans, as she said, like the whole Free Britney movement. I remember thinking it was nuts at first too. I was like, why? If she's never spoken out against this, why are you guys going so hard? But literally, it just shows that level of fandom really helped to move things forward and allow her to speak her truth. And that is amazing.
Amazing. All right, Ashley, I do have a bit of speed round / honorable mentions that I just really want to get on tape here.
Okay. Hit us with them.
All right. Meg, the graduate, Meg Thee Stallion, graduated with her college degree, major key.
Congratulations, girl.
Especially considering the type of year she had, getting shot earlier in the foot
that people want to so quickly forget.
And her winning the Grammys. Every time I talk about Meg, it's like the is necessary. So very proud of her. Kim passing the baby bar. Major key. Juicy Smollett found guilty.
Not Juicy.
This is a nod to Dave Chappelle, who was also very much a hot topic this year, but I don't want to talk about him. But found guilty, Ashley. Were you surprised?
No. We didn't even have to talk about that one.
We did not.
But I just wonder, is Don Lemon going to ever sit down with himself and talk about the things that he needs to do better in the future? We can't just skirt. You a reporter. I get it. I love Don Lemon, but I'm just saying, like, everybody wants to be held accountable or hold people accountable till it's their turn. That's all I'm saying.
I love me some Don, so I ain't got nothing to say right now. And then more recently, the internet being undefeated per usual, Nancy Reagan.
The throat goat. Terrible. Y'all are trifling.
If y'all don't know what we're talking about, I don't even know if I should even explain it. Just look up Nancy Reagan in Hollywood, because she was an actress before she was first lady. That's all I got to say.
Before we get into our microdose, I have one more 2021 milestone we have to talk about, and that is to highlight the growth of our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. We have seen growth in our audience. We changed our format, guys. We marked our first full year in October. Yes. We started our interviews with industry insiders, as Delora always puts it. Yes. And last but certainly not least, we got a nomination for the National Black Podcasting Awards as one of 3 finalists for Best Black Film TV podcast. Y'all hear that? National. I don't know if we said that.
It's actually international, because they have people in other countries. So yes.
I'm sorry. International Black Podcasting Awards. I don't know if we talked about that before. Major. So hell of a year. Cannot wait to see what 2022 has in store for the pod. But that is my final 2021 milestone, and I'm done.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ashley. I'm so proud of you, girl.
You too, sis.
We did that.
We need some theme music. I'm so proud of you. I'm so. Okay. Cheers, girl. Cheers. Sipping on this Roscato.
Same.
We're just so in sync today.
We are. All right, Ashley, let's get into these microdoses. So, our lovely listeners, we are microdosing 2 shows today. The first, as always, Insecure, episode 8, Choices. Okay. Issa finds herself at a crossroads in both her career and relationship. Molly spends an emotional day getting her parents' will in order. I'm telling you, I'm loving this season for just the pure representation of where millennials are in today. Taking care of our parents, or, being mindful of how our parents are doing, you know what I mean, to different levels, as well as making decisions that's going to affect the rest of your life.
Indeed.
Ashley, were you surprised to see Krishan roll up on her and give her this job proposition?
I was surprised, because what we have seen so far is that he was very resolute in his feelings about her, and about her essentially kind of being a sellout and not doing what was best for the community. And I wasn't here for any of that. So I was happy to see it, but it was unexpected. But to her one coworker's point, who is always with her, he was looking fine, though. So I would have accepted that apology.
Goodness gracious.
I'm a sucker for them beautiful men.
I have to say, in this episode, when we see Issa daydream through her 2 options, one, she has an entire contract or offer with the marketing company that she was working with that had the dollars, that she was looking for. And then, of course, the Crenshaw proposal, and both roads ultimately led her down a path where she doesn't get a chance to work with Ty Dolla $ign. I mean, isn't he the epitome of success, Ashley? Like,
at least in her fantasies.
Which route would you choose?
That's a great question. Either route, the fashion was on point. Let me say that.
Yes,
she was looking fabulous.
She was.
I can't necessarily say what I would do, but I can say what I think Issa is going to do. And I think Issa is going to choose the home route. I think she's going to try to remain a staple within her community. Over necessarily branching out and becoming this big. Because I felt some level of anxiety with either or. Maybe there's going to be some happy medium that she can find between the two, but I felt more anxiety with the life that was taking her outside of her community, where she was going to be, you know, so far removed, where she wasn't going to feel like she had a great touch point and really be involved. And why do we live so far away? And, you know, all those questions. So that's what I think she's going to end up doing. Me, I'm probably more of the first one. That's not because I don't love my city. That's just because I dream of a lifestyle of living amongst, you know, the elite of society to a certain extent. But that's just me. I think Issa is going to go a different way. What about you?
I don't know. I think she could go either route. I guess I should say that I feel like she'll probably lean towards more of the community aspect, because community has been her touchstone this entire time, right? Even with her nonprofit work at We Got Y'all, you know, she obviously loves her community and wants to help in any kind of way. And I'm here for it. All right, Ashley.
But which route would you take? Was your initial question?
The first one. I'm sorry.
We're the same. That's why we work together, guys. That's why we work together.
I love y'all, Inglewood. But yeah, I'm not from there. So here. I love the cameos. Elaine Welteroth and Tyra being there. And one of the things that I noticed is that Ethan is in both scenarios. Did it feel authentic to you?
So Nathan being in both scenarios makes sense because that's who she's with, but she still has that longing and that looking for Lawrence. Then I'm like, we only have 2 episodes left. What are we doing?
Way she screamed had me crying.
When he was leaning in to kiss her.
No, he was like, hey, honey. She's like, ah! What is this? Well, for me, it took me watching the wind down at the end where Issa said herself, Issa D has always had a what if guy. And I was like, yo, she did, because guess what? It was Daniel.
It was Daniel
in the first season, and now it's
but she
Lawrence
acted on that what if too, didn't she? So what we about to do?
Sure did, but hey, we're shooting for the growth, okay?
All right.
So we'll see what that looks like. That's the title of episode 2 for anyone who wondering where I got that from. And then finally, Molly having a rough time. We had Kelly assist her with creating a will for her parents. They were able to be successful in completing it. Thank Jesus, because Lord knows the fact that they weren't in any type of hurry to make one after her mom's stroke was quite disappointing. But Black folks don't like to talk about death. So how about that?
Yes. Like, don't bring that evil in here, Ricky Bobby. Don't bring that evil over here.
But what I loved was that she was grown enough to tell her boo, like, hey, I know we're supposed to go out, but I've had a hard day, because guess what? This whole, you know, watching out for my parents thing took a toll on me. And dude sent her wings and why? I was like, that is somebody who is interested. Okay,
guys, step your game all the way up. I was so impressed. I was so impressed and satisfied.
Any other thoughts, Ashley, on episode 8 before the penultimate episode of next week, episode 9?
We talked about it off mic. Issa on the wind down, that red suit was chef's kiss. Mwah! You looked amazing, sis. I'm sad. I feel like I'm end up shedding a tear on the finale. I even posted to our stories the fact there's going to be like an after show kind of the final season and
documentary.
And I saw Issa getting emotional. I was like, oh, this is going to get to me. It's going to pull on my heartstrings. I think it's going to drop December 26th. So be on the lookout for that after the finale. But I'm ready and sad. So that's really all I have.
For me, I'm just interested in what's going to happen because I really felt like these last 2 episodes were kind of transitional episodes. Like nothing major happened. So
they may do the flash forward, like you said. That may be how we have to tie everything up.
And so with only 2 episodes left, and I don't think the final episode is any longer, it should be interesting to see where this goes, especially with Molly, because I'm like, I need for her to get in a wedding dress or something. Like, I need to know what's going to happen.
That would be a great way to end it, is Molly's wedding. Boom. Yes. There you go. Molly's
You're
wedding.
welcome.
Finale.
All right. So let's get into our second microdose, the long-awaited reboot of Sex and the City, now known as And Just Like That, dropped last Thursday, Ashley.
Yep.
With 2 episodes. The first one entitled Hello, It's Me. And the second episode titled Little Black Dress. Ashley, I don't even know where to start. I guess I can read the summary of the first 2 episodes. Okay, the first. After discussing how to handle change, Carrie is challenged to be sexually open on Che's podcast. Miranda has a disastrous first day of school, and Charlotte tries to impress a fellow mom. And then another big change no one saw coming. That's episode 1. In episode 2, the summary says Miranda and Charlotte come to Carrie's aid, proving what good friends are for. Anthony and Stanford vow to let go of petty arguments. Ashley, I don't even know where to go. I think we kind of just need to jump in feet first with this. Yes. Okay.
And I'm going back and looking at our text chain so I can remember all my first thoughts.
And you know what, you guys, speaking of new segments, Ashley and I talked about this online, but I'm going to go ahead and start it. I'm going to start a new segment on our social media called Hotline Bling, and it's going to capture some of me and Ashley's conversations on hot topics that we have offline via text. So look out for that.
I'll try to keep my language as clean as possible.
You get the approvals on the screenshots, I promise.
Okay.
So, Ashley, okay, let's start with the fact I was cringing at the conversation of why Samantha wasn't there. So they start the opening, not even 5 minutes in, we have the conversation of where is Samantha? What did you think about that conversation?
So I understand there's real life beef with Kim Cattrall, but let's not make Samantha seem so petty. Like Samantha, the character, would never just dip out on Carrie about finances. And I just didn't like it. Like I felt like there should have been more thought put into the real reason why a friendship of that long would have really dissolved. And I wasn't satisfied with it for the character's sake.
Yeah, no, I'm here with you. I mean, especially that conversation between Miranda and Carrie after lunch, them trying to further explain it. I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, and it's like they're morphing Kim and Samantha together, and everyone knows it. And I did not enjoy that at all.
Like she moved to London, suddenly she ain't speaking to nobody. She was clear across the country, LA, and she was still popping up on y'all every chance she got. Like, no.
Movie 2, even though we don't talk about movie 2 often because it was awful, but
I mean, I love Sex and the City. Movie 2 is not my favorite, but I've watched every episode multiple times. So like, don't shit on the show characters just because of the real life, messiness.
Age was a big theme in this first episode, talking about changes that they've made individually to stay quote unquote young or relevant, or the changes some of them decided not to do. 58 that old, Ashley. I feel like they were making a big deal about their age, and I didn't really appreciate that.
What I thought when we're reviving a franchise like Sex and the City is we're still going to keep the tone and the energy of the show the same, which is we're living our best lives no matter what age we are. 50s are not old.
Period.
I thought you guys are still going to be thriving and showing us what that looks like now in this phase of your life. Y'all got Steve out here wearing hearing aids, barely able to hear anything. Y'all got Charlotte so concerned about age, she's asking Miranda to color her hair by association. I mean, to your point, I didn't like it because I'm like, our parents are older than that, and they're not even remotely acting like how you guys are acting. So
not at all.
And this is Sex in the City. Like, where is the fun, vivacious energy that we're used to?
And honestly, I think that's part of the reason why they did name this Sex and the City. I think they named it and just like that because I can't get over the fact that Carrie Bradshaw has issues talking about sex on a podcast. For her to be the leader or a leading voice in sexuality to now becoming archaic and borderline prudish in the conversation. What? But to be fair, that does happen in life. I will say that.
You may get a little more reserved. But the real life lady is doing a whole woman show on stage, still talking about sex. So
yes, I'm not getting it. What are your thoughts, Ashley?
It was definitely strange. I guess I understood the rationale she was saying where she's used to being able to talk about it kind of alone behind her keyboard. So to me, that makes a little more sense because it's a new platform. You know, everybody's not always comfortable translating their personality to different platforms. Let's say you've always done radio, maybe going to TV is intimidating for you. So I get it from that perspective, but I think it was more so the conversation with Big that took me by surprise. As long as y'all been messing around, y'all have never talked about masturbation before?
Like never. And that scene, again, awkward. Maybe I have to watch these again because watching it the first time, I don't know if I had high expectations. Honestly, I didn't have any expectations, but what I got, I didn't feel very comfortable with. Not to say Big is not attractive or anything like that, but he's a man of a certain age. I don't want to see a man his age pleasuring himself. That just is not what I'm interested in.
So I was into the fact that they were exploring this new frontier in their relationship. I just didn't need to see it. Like, I thought the scene was gonna cut when she was like, do that's this for me. Saying. And I was like, oh, that's hot. Do your thing, Carrie. And then as we're sitting there, I was like, oh, now I'm uncomfortable. Like, now this is getting awkward. Are we gonna pan away? Are we gonna cut? Like, what is happening here? I do not like Chris. This was uncomfortable for me to watch. So I can't imagine what it was like for you to be sitting there filming this.
The director saying, and now.
Exactly.
Now, keep going. Keep going.
We know some actors like Robert Pattinson really commit. I don't need that from Chris. I don't need it. I don't need it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Another change that is definitely worth mentioning is the amount of faces of color, which is something I think that's why I felt awkward in this revival, Ashley. I feel like in some ways they were overcorrecting themselves for all of the critique, because let's keep it real. Sex and the City didn't really age very well in a lot of areas when it comes to social commentary, right? And so they're overcorrecting. So you have Miranda in particular, in my opinion, who is the embodiment of this, just awkwardly stumbling her way into her college courses. When she was like the braid thing, I'm just like, I think you would have been better off thinking that your professor was young than thinking.
And that's what I thought it was going to be. And then you just went down, just put your foot all the way in your mouth. I was looking at my text and I said to you, no wonder they avoided Black people all this time. Because man, that was really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. But I do love that they're allowing Miranda to grow career wise, because Miranda was always so successful in the series in terms of being a lawyer, that it's showing the realities of, even though I'm this age, I got shaken up by the events of the world and decided that what I'm doing is not satisfying me in terms of really having an impact. And I like that for her character. That's pretty much the only thing I liked for her character so far in this revival. And Miranda was one of my favorite characters on the show.
Yeah, I think they made Charlotte more annoying. She's a super mom, but I'll explain the annoyance actually more in episode 2. But she is very adamant about everyone coming to see Lily's recital, and they did. And Ashley, Big decides not to go. Mind you, before Carrie left, they really played up how happy and in love they were. They were planning on going on a trip to their other location in the country somewhere.
I'm assuming country is the Hamptons.
well, the Hamptons, yes.
I mean, I'm just assuming, because where else are we going? You know what I mean?
I know.
We're not going to Aiden's house. You remember
We're not.
Aiden's house? Yes! That's not what we're doing with Big.
Mind you, Team Aiden, for anyone who ever needed to know where my stances are.
Such a sweetheart.
Big was toxic AF, and Carrie was stupid to go with him, but at the end we saw that they were very much in love. During the pandemic, they played a new album every night while they cooked dinner.
He got Carrie cooking. Who would have ever thought?
I know. And I'm not gonna lie, I knew something was up because they were too happy. Ashley, have they ever been this happy before we get to the big part?
In the second movie, they were pretty happy. I don't remember there being too much, besides the Aiden thing, right? Besides the we threw Aiden back in there. But before, the in-betweens, I knew that there was happiness and there was love, right? And Big has always been portrayed as being the one for Carrie. True. So I figured, okay, we're just at a good point. But once I finally realized something was happening was once the music started and we're cutting in between the two scenes. And I said, what y'all about to do to my guy? This is not looking good.
And to that point, to your point, Ashley, Big is on his Peloton, not a generic form of bicycling, you know what I mean? At home workout, Peloton.
With that whore Allegra.
I was going to say with his favorite instructor. And he has a successful ride. This is his 1,000th ride, okay? And lo and behold, he has a heart attack. Carrie hauling a freaking cab in 2021 when she could have called an Uber Black. I know Big got a driver. What is going on, Ashley?
That part right there. Big always had a driver. So we've gotten rid of the driver? Okay.
I know his wife would have been covered. So Carrie makes her way home, waltzing in, wondering where Big is, and he is on the bathroom floor waiting for her seemingly. And we have this, in my opinion, awkward eye lock, this pause. Then she runs to him crying, and just like that, Big is dead.
The most heavily disputed, talked about, upsetting moment of the series, guys. I was cussing my television out. I said, how could y'all fucking do this to me? Girl. Y'all brought this beloved series back just to kill Mr. Big in episode 1. And Delora, I just read an article today with Chris Knopfler. He said originally he wasn't for it. He was like, why not just leave well enough alone if that's going to be the case? But he was talked into it because he knew the writing was going to be good, all this and that. But he said, I guess this moment of them locking eyes and all this was supposed to be their Bonnie and Clyde moment. It would not have had the same emotional gravitas if we watched her not really holding on to him and kind of them knowing that these were his final moments. If she had been fiddling for her phone or his phone, it wouldn't have been the same.
I guess.
I disagree with that. As an audience member, I wanted to see her do everything she possibly could to save her
control.
This is a PSA, people. Learn CPR, because CPR could have saved that man's life long enough for him to get somebody to come and, do the defibrillator, do all the things they needed to restart his heart, save him. All she needed to do was preserve his mind. So It was very upsetting, guys.
I mean, watching it, surprisingly, I was not emotional. I think I was like, what is going on here? I know he's not about to die. And you know what? I knew he was going to die through some of the foreshadowing that was happening in the episode, specifically with him sitting on the ledge. The sun is shining on him while he's smoking his cigar as she walks out the door for the recital. That whole look was like borderline, like angelic, kind of like, in my opinion. And the fact that they lingered on that, I was like, Big is about to die. And so when he actually died, because I'm like, why is he still alive when she got there? But then people were like, he was holding on for her to come home.
That man was slowly dying. What are y'all talking about? He was slowly dying. He didn't have a massive heart attack, but he was dying.
Her running in, getting soaking wet and screaming and crying was just like, and
sucking the final air out of his lungs, kissing on him.
And the fact that they had Big in a freaking body bag when Miranda and Charlotte showed up, I was like, what are they trying to do to us? They really want to torture us right now, right? That's what we signed up for. I didn't think that's what we signed up for. Actually.
I didn't sign up for that. I was devastated. I was devastated, truly.
Let's get into this.
Carrie talking about, what am I going to do now? Girl, what are any of us going to do now? Why? Why did y'all...
And to that point again, Ashley, 50 is not that old. So now Carrie out here is a widow. Miranda got gray hair. Like, where are we going with this? Because it's not going to be exciting for her to get on the dating scene knowing that her beloved husband is no longer with us.
Exactly.
I can't get excited for that.
How quickly is she going to be able to get over the love of her life dying of a heart attack?
My deal is, it's different if they had gotten divorced and it would have been more exciting to, see her potentially dating again or whatever. But let's go ahead and get into this episode 2. Ashley, this is the funeral episode. We are literally walking with Carrie through one of the most devastating moments of her life, trying to find the appropriate location for freaking Big's wedding. I can't believe I'm saying these words right now, Ashley. Like, Charlotte is losing her freaking mind. She is so self-absorbed right now, Ashley. I cannot even deal. She is freaking out because she believes she's the reason why Big is dead. If she hadn't forced Carrie to come to Lily's recital, none of this would have happened.
She really annoyed me. Charlotte always had a bit of this in her throughout the series, but usually she was always the most on top of things when it came to manners and the right way to do things. Remember, even seasons when Miranda's mother passed away and things like that, she was just always that person. So to see her in this, where she's just overly emotional so much that they confuse her for the widow, and it was just a lot for me. I wasn't excited about what they've done to Charlotte's character.
Were you surprised of how stoic Carrie?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said to you in my text. I said I was surprised because this is the first real tragedy that we've seen Carrie's character go through. Like, we've seen her be a shoulder for other people, but not necessarily like this. And I think Carrie was always someone who was very vocal emotionally about things. So I was surprised, but maybe right now she's really just going through the motions because it was so shocking and it was so unexpected. And at the end of the day, you don't ever know how you're going to deal with such a significant loss. So I give the character grace for that, but I didn't expect this whole Jackie O stoic demeanor and vibe from her at all.
I mean, her outfit was fire, but I mean, that funeral was a bit sterile. Like, in terms of, I'm like, is this a doctor's office or a celebration of someone's life? Like, I don't understand.
And then we talked about what made it sad for us as the audience is we know Stanford, the actor who plays Stanford, really passed away. So that was what I was more thinking about during those scenes than I even was about Big, because we just knew what was to come.
Yeah. Ashley, there's a lot of other storylines that are going on. For instance, Miranda and Steve's son is a sex addict. First of all, who allows their teenage son's girlfriend to spend the night and have loud sex? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
It's deeply disturbing.
Deeply disturbing. Yeah, I I don't know what to expect at this rate, Ashley. Do you have any thoughts? Any predictions for this season?
I have no idea where we're about to go at this point. I mean, could have never predicted that we were going to lose. I mean, this is worse than Game of Thrones. At least they gave Ned a whole first season.
Whole season. You grew to love him and everything. Yeah.
I guess they said this is it. But I don't know. I just hope, again, tone-wise and like the vibe of the show kind of gets back to a little bit lighter, because that's what I fell in love with Sex and the City for.
Yeah.
The banter, the chemistry between our ladies. Like, I need that again. I want some of the fun, because if we're just going to drag this out, it's going to be really sad for the rest of the season. There's plenty of other shows to watch for all of that. That's not what I came to this looking for.
Well, it still has its power. Peloton stock crashed after it.
Crazy.
And, you know, it has made its mark. One last thing I want to know, what are your thoughts about the addition to Nicole Ari Parker?
Loved her, looked fabulous. Excited to see if they're going to branch out more from her just being associate of Charlotte. Like, are we going to get to see more of her in her circle. Life? Yeah, exactly. Especially because we have a hole to fill. Technically, you know, we've always had a foursome. So,
and the introduction of Miranda's professor, I'm really excited to see more of her as well.
Mm-hmm.
My only prediction, well, I have two. Obviously, they're setting us up for Miranda having some type of drinking problem. And then my out there prediction is I think Harry might have some memory loss.
Yeah, you said that. I hope not. Again, I don't need all this sadness, guys. I need to be uplifted.
Yeah. So, and just like that, we are done with this microdose. Thank you, Ashley. What a wonderful 2021 it has been. I am so excited because we have one more episode before the end of this fabulous year.
You sure do.
What are we recapping next week, Ashley?
So, guys, in the spirit of the holiday season, Delora and I are going to recap 2 Christmas films. We're calling it a Christmas medley. One of my favorites and one of Delora's favorites. We are doing The Santa Claus and The Holiday. The Santa Claus is currently available on Disney Plus. The Holiday is available on Hulu. So if you want a little refresh, get with us in the holiday spirit, feel free to check those out. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.